Hey, welcome to the Uga Madu Football channel. And thanks for being here. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But let's dive straight into today's discuss. Two world-class players put up world-class performances yesterday in Europe. So Victor Osimhen scored again to put his Galatasaray side 3-1 up in Europa League versus Dynamo Kiev, but unfortunately for them, they drew that game 3-3. But it does bring his goal scoring record of stats for the season so far to 15 goals in all competitions, and 5 assists as well. So 20 goal contributions so far this season. And Ademola Lookman as well scored one for Atlanta and assisted another one as well. So as they put five, as his Atalanta side put 5 goals past Storm Graz, and that brings his goals for the season to 14 goals with 6 assists, and that means he has 20 goal contributions as well in all competitions. So you can see that both on fine form, they're world-class players. Sometimes people don't take the time to appreciate these players. Especially Victor Osimhen, he's always criticized. I don't know why, but he's a world-class player. He's a world-class player. He put up amazing numbers for Galatasaray. People say, oh, he scores penalties. Yeah, every striker takes penalties, except you have a few clubs, or the exception rather, is that you have a midfielder take penalties or some other player take the penalty. But the rule is the striker usually takes the penalties. Ellen Haaland takes penalties for Man City. So the fact that Victor Osimhen takes penalties for his team doesn't mean it shouldn't be something that should be used against him, in my opinion, as well. Ademola Lookman put up fine performance for Atalanta. He's shown that his past 2 seasons at Atalanta, you know, haven't been flukes, so haven't been flashes in the pan. He's played really well, and these are two world-class players I think will be crucial for Nigeria going forward. It doesn't matter the sort of formation that Chel wants to come up with. I think these two would be significant if Nigeria wants to succeed. So if, for instance, even if you're going with the 4-3-1-2, Ademola Lookman could play in that 10 role. If you're going with the 4-3-3, Ademola Lookman can play wide on the left. If you're going with the 4-2-3-1, he can play on either side. As if you can play in any of the three attacking roles behind the main striker. So for me, brilliant performances by these two players, and I'm excited to see what their numbers will be come the end of the season, and hopefully they can bring this into the World Cup qualifying games, and as well the AFCON that will be taking place in Morocco later on in the year. Then I want to talk about one player. One player. I've known about this player for some time. He has dual nationality. He's Danish. He has Danish and Nigerian nationality as well. He's one of the most highly rated left left backs. Some say he's a left wing back. Some even say he can play up front he can play as a left winger, as a right winger. But I see him more as a left wing back and a left back. Now, for me, I would love for him to play for Nigeria. Though some reports are saying he would like to play for Denmark. I'm not quite sure, because one thing people don't understand about things is that you have different narratives that are spawned out there. You have different narratives that are put out there that people don't even quite understand where those narratives come from. Sometimes the player may not have said that. you know. So the only player that I've heard that has ever come up to say I'll go for Germany instead, is Kevin Shada. Kevin Shada. His dad is Nigerian, his mom is German, I think, and he's played a couple of games for Germany. I don't think he's still eligible to play for Nigeria. But anyway, he's one of those ones that's come out to say he would rather play for Germany. And fair play to him, it is his choice. Because for me, one thing I like is that the player can make his choice, and the academy and the football associations sell themselves to these players or try to convince these players of their projects. And I think the Germans, did have enough to convince Kevin Schade of their project. And I think all these things start from when these players are a lot younger, to be fair. But I don't want to digress too much from Patrick Dorgu. Patrick Dorgu has been so good for Lecce in the Serie A, and he has attracted interest from Napoli. I think they're in the title hunt for the Scudetto this season. They're, right now they're shuttling between being top of the pile or being second on the table. And Atalanta, I think Ademola Lookman's Atalanta are in the mix as well. So he's attracting interest from Napoli and as well attracting interest from Manchester United. For me, I know I'm a Chelsea fan, and this might sound like someone trying to be a Premier League rival. And in terms of what I want to say next, and what I want to say next is for his development as a player, he should go to Napoli. Not because of Napoli, but because of Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, I know he's not this modern tiki-taka managers, like you have with Enzo Maresca, Arteta, passer from the back, 10 short passes. So people don't somehow, for some crazy reason, don't rate him. Someone who's won multiple Serie A titles, someone who's won Premier League titles, someone who's won FA Cup in England. Somehow people just don't want to rate him. But one thing we know is he develops his players. He makes players better. When it comes to wing backs, because he likes to play with his five at the back, three centre backs, and two flying wing backs. He develops those players. He improves those players very well. He might be strict on the training ground, but he develops players. And then as well for strikers, he develops strikers as well. You can see what he did with Lukaku at Inter Milan. You can see what he's doing currently, with Lukaku at Napoli. And I think Patrick Dorgu at AC Milan, sorry, at Napoli would be fantastic. His game would be taken to the next level. You can only see what Antonio Conte did for Victor Moses, who primarily wasn't even a left back. It wasn't a left back or a right back or a right wing back. He was meant to be a winger, and then Antonio Conte came into Chelsea. He was meant to be going out on loan or to be even sold at some point as Victor Moses. Antonio Conte brought him, kept him back in the team, and he won the league title with Chelsea and was fantastic and very instrumental, in that season. So I think Patrick Dogo should go there to Napoli if I had to choose, if I had to advise him. Patrick Dogu, if you're watching this, go to Napoli, not Manchester United, because right now, even the most optimistic of Manchester United fans would admit that Manchester United are an absolute shambles this season. So uh, that's that. And then the next thing I want to talk about, still staying on Patrick Dogu, is I know a lot of people will be asking, why do you keep going on about people switching nationalities? Why do you want Patrick Dogu to come to the Nigerian Super Eagles if the reports are saying he would rather play for Denmark? I don't care what the reports are saying. That's why, number one, they can say what they want. I don't think they're completely accurate because that's the power of narratives that people don't get. The second part is one thing I've always said on this channel, which is you must get the best available talent. You can never turn down talent. You can never say no to talent. And I'll ask this question: have you ever heard Brazil leave a talent on the table or allowed another country take a top rated talent? No. Have you ever heard of Argentina let a top rated talent go to another country? No. Because they know what it is to win. And one thing is important: you may have this very exciting, very good player that plays regularly for you, but what happens when he's injured? Then you start to huff and puff and you run helter skelter looking for replacements. Or sometimes you want to have a tactical tweak. Or sometimes you just need competition, because that's the problem I think we've had in the Super Eagles. Because certain players just know I'll start. And even if I play badly or poorly on any given day, no one is going to replace me. No one is going to come off the bench to take my spot. And it also gives some players some level of arrogance when they look at the bench and they know, what's on the bench? He's levels below me, so why should I even bother? But if you have the likes of Patrick Dogu and Bruno Yimachi for that left back / left wing back position, or you can add Felix Agu to that mix as well. Each time any one of them gets the opportunity to play for the Super Eagles at left back or left wing back, depending on the tactical inclination of the manager at that point in time, they would give their utmost because they know that spot isn't guaranteed. They can't take that spot for granted because you perform poorly, there's someone right on the bench that will take your spot. Because believe me, players, if I can say that, players know the players that are really good. You think in training they don't know the person who is good? You know. And they're passing the ball, doing keep it up is, doing their runs, their training, tactical setup, 11v11 games, 5v5 games. You know who's good. And as well as you're in Europe, you're watching as you're playing the games against people, you know who's better than you, who's at your level, who's below your level. As you're watching the game as well, they watch football as well. As they watch the game as well, they watch Champions Leagues, they watch different uh, um, games as well. They know who's actually on their level, above their level, or below their level. So if you don't get the best available talent to come to your club, to come to your country to play for you, then why do you bother playing the AFCON? Why do you bother? Because you don't want to win. Why do you bother trying to qualify for the World Cup? Is it to go and play 3 games and come back? No, you want to win. So Napoli and Manchester United, I think, are kind of willing to pay £34 million for the services of Patrick Dorgu. And go watch this player. I've known about him for some time now. He's an exciting player. And with all due respect, we shouldn't be losing this type of players. We just shouldn't. Nigerians, the Super Eagles, shouldn't be losing this sort of players, in my opinion. I think the NFF should do all they can to get him on board. Do all you can. He can still come up to say, "Oh, I want to play for Denmark. Oh, I've lived in Denmark, XYZ all my life. I feel I'm more Danish than Nigerian." Good. If he says that, okay, well and good. But you do your utmost to get this player. You convince these players. And I've said it before on a previous video. If you give me the legitimate right, the legal right, say speak to these players on behalf of Nigeria or on behalf of the NFF or whatever, I tell you, I can convince these players. But it's just that the NFF don't put in the work. Sometimes you have to put in the work 5 years before. When the player is 16, 17, playing for the academy, you put in the work. You show that you really have the intention for these players, to be part of your setup. Do you have a scouting team, a scouting network, a real scouting network? The scouting network shouldn't only be focused on Nigeria or grassroots alone. That's fine. Have focus on the grassroots as well, but also have focus outside of the country as well. Because like I said, you don't ever leave a talent on the table. If you want to win, you want to compete, you need to get the best available talent, not just for your first 11, but for your let's say 15 to 18 man squad or 25 man squad, and as well people that be on standby. You need to have a rich, deep talent pool, and we have a deep talent pool. It's just that the NFF needs to start accessing these talents. So at this point, I've come to the end of the video, but before I end, I'd like to say subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you're notified each time I go on live or put a pre-recorded video or post a pre-recorded video on the channel, and also share it as well so other people can participate and can watch these videos if they like it and also participate. Please drop comments in the comment section. And I also want to say this, on Friday there'll be a live on this channel, so keep your eyes peeled for more information. And like I said, if you are the proprietor of a grassroots academy in Nigeria, or you know someone who is the proprietor of a grassroots academy in Nigeria, do drop their name in the comment section and I'll reach out and see how we can collaborate. So at this point, I've come to the end of this video. To have a splendid rest of your day. Stay good and stay blessed.